All right. Welcome everyone to today's episode of the Uplink. Thanks for joining us. We're here with the team from Norada today, talking about how they uniquely serve caregivers and other customers across industries by providing new cloud software that monitors the location of people and equipment, both indoors and outdoors. So super excited to have Shelby and Steve here with us. I'm going to go through a few quick intros here and talk a little bit about Helium, and then I will turn it over to Shelby. So my name's Jacob Swin. I'm the product marketing manager here at Helium. Quick agenda. Like I said, I'll talk a little about Helium, talk about how Helium and Norada started working together, and then I will let Shelby do their intros and then their demo, and then we'll follow up with some Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat, or you can save them for the end. We'll take a look at those as the presentation's going and cover those at the end. There we go. All right. So Helium was co-founded by Sean Fanning and Amir Helium in 2013 to build the world's first decentralized wireless network, and doing that by simplifying connecting devices to the internet by rewarding anyone to become a network operator. So we have been able to do that by being backed by some of the very best VC firms in the world to make this vision a reality. And you can see some of them listed down below, but we're extremely grateful for all of their help and couldn't have done that without them. So really appreciative of that. Helium itself is, like you see, an incentive-built network. We incentivize people to build the network out and create coverage and usage. So anybody, anywhere can be rewarded for creating that wireless coverage. People earn HNT both for creating coverage by deploying hotspots and when their devices use their hotspot to connect to the internet. And with that, an affordable worldwide wireless network is being rapidly built, has been built, and is still growing. So really cool. Why Helium? Why should you choose Helium? What are the benefits of the Helium network? First, it's the largest contiguous wireless network in the world. Really cool, because that used to say network in the US, and we got to update that to the world not too long ago. So that's awesome. Accelerated coverage. We're over 260,000 hotspots and growing in over almost 150 countries around the world. So, and like I said, that's continuing to grow with rapid network growth. We've got at least 400,000, if not more, hotspots on order and ready to come online as well. So that number keeps going up every day. We also have a really diverse ecosystem that includes hardware makers, customers, network users, lots of different people doing really cool things on the network. I'll talk a little bit about that in a few slides, but like I said, very diverse, a lot of different solutions, a lot of different use cases, a lot of different devices being used on the network. And again, those grow every day. Really low cost to use the Helium network, especially when compared to things like cellular. One device sending data every 5 minutes costs around $1 per year. So it's very accessible cost-wise to start using the network. And then talking about accessibility, the networks, you can use it, pretty much start using it with any compatible off-the-shelf LoRaWAN device. So it's very easy to get started using the Helium network. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, just check out our website, helium.com. We have a lot of great info on that website, including solutions, hardware, our ecosystem, all of those things. Like I said, we have a diverse ecosystem of hardware makers that have been approved by the community through HIP 19. You can find out more at helium.com/mine, but you see some listed here in this awesome graphic our designers did. We got Rack, Bobcat, Nebra, Synchrorbit, many more as well. So yeah, lots of those and more coming online and up to date. Like I said, an ecosystem, a very diverse ecosystem, lots of different users, lots of different customers, lots of different partners providing solutions for all types of things, from asset tracking to water monitoring, air quality monitoring, smart education, package tracking, pest control, you name it. We have tons of different users doing lots of different things. And again, check out our ecosystem page, because this continues to grow all the time. We're adding new partners and users to that every day. If you haven't started using the network yet, make sure you check out Helium Console. This is where, you connect your devices and they're sending data to desired endpoints. The console team has done a really great job and has worked really hard to really make the interface very user-friendly, simple to use, especially the new Flows workspace that just makes it very simple to kind of see, okay, here's my device, it's sending data through this decoder, it's going to this endpoint or going to this integration to this desired endpoint. So make sure you check out for free console.helium.com, get a free account and start using the network. And if you want to look at even more stuff, like I said, go to helium.com. We are on GitHub, lots of great resources on GitHub, a lot of people doing a lot of really cool things there. Twitter and Discord, we're at over 100,000 followers and community members on both of those platforms, actually, which is really cool. Discord especially, a lot of really good resources. If you have questions about the Helium network, anything relating to Helium, anything like that, Discord's a great place to go. And a lot of very intelligent community members who are really knowledgeable and can help you out. My email, jacob@helium.com, down the left-hand corner. You can email me if you have any questions. Mark Phillips is our vice president of biz dev as well. His email, you can see mark@helium.com. He's been around since almost the entire time at Helium. So he knows a lot, very knowledgeable guy. All right. So Helium and Norada, how did we start working together? So Norada was looking for a widely deployed LoRaWAN network with a sensible commercial model. And they were working with the other usual suspects that were deploying networks, but found their traditional business models had some natural constraints, such as being limited in their scale, maybe expensive, complex, difficult to use, things like that. So with Helium, all of that changed. Norada recognized our innovative business model, and that had propelled us ahead of everyone else trying to deploy a widely available modern network. And from there, magic has happened. This partnership has grown. Yeah, so I'm going to turn that over to Shelby now from Norada to kind of talk about what cool things they're doing at the company.
Awesome. Thanks, Jacob. And thanks everyone for joining us. I'm really excited to just share with you guys all what we've been up to and what we have today. So I am the VP of Innovation here at Norada, and Steve is joining me as well. He's the founder of Norada. So our solution, it monitors the location of people and equipment as they move around both indoors and outdoors. So in this IoT ecosystem, we are the software people that make that IoT data ultimately useful with a super user-friendly app. And we care deeply about security, reliability, and supporting a business's workflow. So we all know that businesses right now are facing a staffing crisis. They're struggling to do more with who and what they currently have. And particularly hard hit are those industries that physically interact with a person, a place, or a thing, because we all know that obviously moving around is very labor intensive. And so with fewer trained eyes, it becomes much harder to know what's going on. And so our solution works across all different industries, but since we can all relate to ensuring that our seniors receive the care that they need, I'm going to demo a use case from that industry today. So I'm going to start off by introducing you guys to the bones of the system, just to kind of get our bearings, and then most importantly, dig into a couple of those high value use cases. So for this presentation, every staff member and piece of equipment will carry around a small wireless tag that is sending data to our system. So we've partnered with the leading device manufacturers, so it is ready to go. But that said, if you have your favorite hardware or if you have requirements to work with a specific type of hardware, we could work with that as well. So for security purposes, all the data that I'm about to show you today is simulated just for this demo. So I'm going to share my screen here with you guys. All right, I trust that everyone can see my screen. If not, okay, cool, all good. All right, so this is our app. It is available to managers, supervisors, floor staff, basically anyone who needs access to this type of information, and from desktop, tablet, phone, and from any location. So if you're managing multiple campuses or buildings, you can view all of that from within a single Solve account. Now, just jumping right in here. 1 second, I'm just trying to move my participants out of the way here. All right, there we go. All right, so jumping right in here, I want to see what's going on inside of this lakeshore building. So right off the bat, you're going to see there's one person moving around here. Just loading up the floor plan here. There's one person moving around here. And then we've got a basic environmental type sensor here. So that's just showing you, temperature, humidity, air quality within that given room. Now that is one type of sensor. You could really apply any type of sensor that you want. And so that could be anything from, how many people have entered that room or are currently in that room, or is there a water leak within that room, or are the windows and doors open, or windows and doors open in that room. So you could have those types of sensors in every single room within the building, but that's just one example of what that looks like. Now, let's say that you want to find a specific person or thing. You can either tap on their name from this list here, or you can start typing it in. So in this case, I want to find out, okay, where exactly is Sam within the building? And so you may have noticed that I was on the first floor. I automatically jumped to the second floor where Sam is at, and his location is highlighted there. Now, let's say that you want to filter down to show me where a type of equipment is, or show me where all the staff within a given department, where they're located. So in this case, show me where all the medical staff are located. So we can filter down there and quickly locate them. Now let's say, okay, let's tap on Nora's tag here. Now this is going to show me a history of where she's been. So that could probably provide a bit of an intent as to where she's headed next. Now let's tap on Allison's tag here. Now this is going to provide me with a heat map. So this is going to show me where she's spending her time, where she's spending more time than others, and also where she's not spending any time. So now, just to cover the usual suspects here, I'm going to point out that our system has robust alerting system to monitor and alarm or alert on pretty much anything. So that could be from abnormal air quality readings to body temperature, as well as location-based alerts. So that could be entering or exiting a given area, as well as, and this is unusual, dwelling or being absent from a given area. And so just one example of what that looks like, you may have seen there was a red notification bar at the bottom when we first started off. So that was, in this case, Ethan Jackson entered the pharmacy. It's a restricted area. I want to keep tabs on who's in and out of that given area. And so we'll surface that alarm in a couple places that I've just shown you here. We can also send you an email and a notification to your phone as well, if you would like. So that covers the bones of our system. Now let's move on to a couple of those high value use cases. And I want to preface that we're going to focus on staff and facility related activity, not health related information here. So the first use case that I want to jump into, it's a use case that we're all familiar with. Quite simply, a button to request help. So your staff are going about their day. They require help for some reason. Your staff will tap on that button on that tag that they're carrying around. And here we go, Allison Ritter pressed on that help button. So again, we'll surface it here in the app. Now I'm another user, or I'm another staff member, and I see that Allison needs help. So I can locate where she's at. And then maybe I see that there's another staff member that's right around the corner. I can assign that alert or alarm to that other staff member, and then they can go and help her out. So now we've helped her out, everything's all good. Allison can reset that alarm by either tapping on that button again on her tag, or we can reset it from within the app. Now, let's say that I'm a staff member that just started my shift and I want to understand what happened before my shift started, get up to speed. So I can go to this resolved area and understand exactly all of the alarms that happened while I was away. So that is your quick, typical use case. Someone needs help, they get assisted, everything is documented, and it's very quick. So now for those use cases where you do require some further documentation or follow-up, what happens when you press on that button and trigger that alarm is we actually create a ticket on the back end. And we've got a fairly robust ticketing system here. And again, most of the time you probably don't need to interact with this, but when you do need to add further follow-up or documentation, we've got all the different fields for that. You can log some notes, assign tasks or follow-ups to different users, and then of course, add some photos down here. So that is the first use case that I want to touch on. The second use case revolves around service management. And this is a topic that's extremely interesting and relevant to the senior care industry because a constant challenge that they have within that industry is just monitoring if every resident's needs have been attended to as needed or as contracted. And that could be anything from cleaning to wellness checks. It's ultimately a primary responsibility of theirs. And so our system can ensure that no one is missed and all contracted services were actually completed. So let me show you how that works. First of all, we are going to set a service interval for every room within the building that needs service. So in this case, I know that perhaps suites need to be serviced once a day. And then let's say that dining facilities need to be cleaned every 6 hours. So here I can set once a day for that service. So that service interval is unique to that room. So now that I've got that set, now the service staff are going to complete their visit. And then once they've completed their visit, they tap on that button on that tag. And that's going to send our system a couple pieces of information. So that's going to ultimately tell us who was where and at what time. So in this case, Nora Fisher cleaned suite 2-19. So now that we have that data, we can surface that in a few different areas within the app. So the first one is this running feed. So as a supervisor or manager, I just have kind of a running feed as things are completed. The second area is the services layer. And so this map represents, the green represents that this area has been serviced. There's no action required anytime soon. If there is an orange zone somewhere on the map, it represents that service is due soon and we'll let you know when. So in 2 hours from now, for example. And then these red zones represent that the service is overdue. In this case, it was due just about 3 hours ago. So imagine being a service staff, you just take a look at this map and very quickly you understand if anyone is missed and where you need to focus your efforts next. Now, the third area that we surface that service data is back on this dashboard. So imagine you're a manager, a supervisor, you've got this card. At a glance, you can understand exactly if there's any zones that are overdue or have been missed. Now we can expand that to show a full report that's going to answer all your questions, whether that is, show me all of the service history that happened within this given room, or show me all of the services that this specific employee has completed within a given time frame. So it's going to answer your questions around, key metrics per day, services per day, and also you can prove that services were actually completed. So now let's move on to the third and final use case. And this is really where we come full circle with everything that I've showed you so far. And so what's been raised within this industry is just how important the relationship is between the senior care community and then the aging at home. And so it's important for these care providers to develop a stronger relationship with their clients at home. So let's say you have people in the field doing an outreach to clients or prospects, or doing a home care visit. You can monitor where these workers are and have assurance that all of the services have been provided. And again, if there's any exceptions a client has missed, it becomes very obvious. So let's tap on this staff member. I know that Sarah is doing a home care visit. Zoom out once. So here we can see that Sarah is doing a visit at our client John's house. So I've just showed you that service management layer within the campus setting, but we've included all of the homes beyond the campus in the city into that service management layer or feature. So you can set a service interval for these homes in the community, and then you can watch as the employee goes from the campus to a client's house and then completes that service. And of course, ensures that no one is missed and prove that the service was ultimately completed. So that concludes my demo here, but I just want to close on a couple points here. And that is, unlike tracking systems, the value here is not about micromanaging people. It's about enabling them, and it's about achieving better outcomes with the resources that you have. So what I mean by that, there are plenty of stats around the amount of time that employees spend in this industry just walking around looking for things like people or equipment. It's a major issue, especially in the midst of a staffing crisis. And I'm sure that it's incredibly frustrating for the staff members to be spending that much time walking around just looking for things when they are swamped with this high value work. Additionally, no one likes doing work that doesn't need to be done, or being accused of not doing work that was actually completed. And ultimately, everyone wants to be as organized as possible. And in a new time of illness, we're very careful about limiting unnecessary contact. So of course, I'm not speaking to limiting care, but we can prevent someone going into a room looking for a person or a piece of equipment and unnecessarily making contact with everyone in every room that they venture into. And so to summarize the benefits here, it helps teams respond to clients' needs faster. It detects issues before they escalate. It reduces errors. It reduces low-value work like documenting and looking for things. And ultimately, better data informs better decisions. So I've just shown you a ton of information, a ton of capabilities. And the purpose of that was just to share the capabilities of our system. The reality is that normally customers usually just start out with a single problem like asset tracking, but they start small And then they know that our platform has incredible potential and legs to grow. So they can just layer data point upon data point. So where do we go from here? What are the opportunities that are available here? I've got 3 opportunities here, and Jacob can provide the contact information after this. But the 3 opportunities that exist here are, first of all, again, this platform is industry agnostic. So if you are operating a business and would benefit from collecting information about your people or your assets and transforming that into actionable data, we would love to hear from you. Second, if you are a managed service provider or an integrator and you're interested in expanding your offerings, we do have a well-established partner program. And then third, if you are a hardware manufacturer or distributor and you're bidding on a project that needs a software component to it, or you want to focus on what you do best, building hardware, and you want to leave the software to the software experts, please reach out to us. We would love to go through that with you. So with that, I would love to answer a couple of questions here.
Oops, rookie mistake. I was muted there. Thank you, Shelby. Here's the slide that Shelby was talking about with contact info and just some more opportunities with Norada. We'll leave this up during some Q&A here. I just had a few questions, and I'm going to let Shelby and Steve kind of pull through the chat a little bit and answer some questions they find interesting. But can you talk a little bit about like the pricing and how people can get started with Norada?
Yeah, absolutely. So the pricing is a very typical SaaS pricing model, meaning it is based off of consumption, so based off of connected data points. For the full information, it's all visible and available on our website there. But it's extremely competitive and it's scalable. So if you want to start, again, if you want to start out with just a couple data points or just focusing on one aspect of your service or your building, and then you want to layer upon that, our pricing model is extremely flexible and practical for that type of implementation. In terms of starting out, how do we start out? Just give us a call, and what we love to do is just sit down and go through a discovery meeting. And we are not here to say, here's our product, this is how you're going to apply it to your business, buy it. We are here to understand what your pain points are, and then figure out some sort of solution, what type of hardware, what kind of data points that you're going to want to bring in, and then go from there. And quite often, again, I mentioned that partner program. We have domain experts in a number of different areas that can come in and really connect the dots, hardware partners as well. And so our goal here is to make this accessible for types of businesses that perhaps were forgotten about, or IoT just was not accessible to them previously.
Awesome. Thank you. I have one more question, then I'll let you guys, because I see some good questions coming through in the chat here. But what are some next steps? Maybe what are some things that Norada is kind of thinking about down the line, or brainstorming like, okay, we really would like to do this, and that people can kind of look out for?
Yeah, the biggest thing really is again just making this accessible. Our passion really is in these underserved industries. Senior care is just a blaring one. It is such an underserved market, and IoT was not accessible to them. But with the introduction of Helium, for example, and the cost of hardware that's going down, and now our software that historically a lot of IoT projects required a custom app that is developed specifically for that project. There wasn't this SaaS-based solution that you can just kind of plug and play with, and obviously building a custom app is expensive. And so there's a lot of businesses that IoT was never accessible for. And I think that there's a lot of businesses that don't realize that things have changed, and this is all available to them now in a very practical manner. And so our mission is just educating and continuing to make it as easy as possible to onboard these people and make it as practical as possible, low technical no low technical boundaries or anything like that, and cost effective, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right. Steve, Shelby, you guys want to pull some from the chat here?
Steve, if you have something there for me, I would love.
Sure. There was one question here about can the technology be used to track workers in the community? And I think you demonstrated that, but did you want to add any more since it was a point of interest?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can definitely do that. And so, you know, this is something that you can go from both indoors to outdoors. That is really the power of Helium, right? You know, Helium is available, you know, all over metro areas, and so it's I don't know, it's just so simple to display this, and so I'm trying to add more words to it. But I think that seeing is believing. It's very simple to watch them go from the campus to the homes in the community. And yeah, I don't have anything further to add to that. But if you want to elaborate on that, Steve, go for it.
We almost take that for granted. Our background is the internet product space. And we think the network should just be everywhere and just work. And when you're working in IoT, that's not exactly the case, because you need range much further than Wi-Fi is capable. And these devices have to be energy optimized. They have to last between 5 to 10 years generally on a set of batteries. So you just kind of turn it on and go and forget about it. And this is really why we're so excited and working with Helium, is because when we go to propose a solution for a client, the network component is just there. And it's in pretty much every metro area now. So it really simplifies the onboarding of clients. Maybe I'll add to this a little bit as well in terms of where we're going. We are starting to work with domain experts in a couple of different industries and enable their industry-specific solution. In the senior care industry, for example, fall detection is a really big subject. It directly impacts the well-being and wellness and financial viability of some of these communities even operating. So that's getting a lot of attention. And now they don't need to worry about not only the network, but the software infrastructure to enable those sorts of solutions. We're also gathering data and analytics around behaviors so that we can establish what's normal, and then when people may change from a normal baseline, that's a key indicator that something has changed and it probably needs to be reviewed. So the industry is kind of putting a buzzword around that. It's called IOB, or Internet of Behaviors, but it's all around anticipating needs to provide better customer service to the clients that you serve. So let's see if we can pick up another question here. Maybe on the technical side, you know, how are you doing this magic indoors, finding out where people are? I could speak to that. We are using a number of different field technologies depending on what the client's requirements are. The one that we've demonstrated here today is the building itself has a very inexpensive BLE beacon, or anchor as we call them, placed in every room. And as a tag navigates through the building, we collect radio signals from those beacons and process two pieces of information. One is the proximity of the tag relative to those beacons, and the other is the position And we can pretty much get 100% accuracy on the proximity. So we know exactly which room, or in some cases, which area of the room that particular tag is. And then the position is an approximation based on receiving signals from multiple beacons. So that's the magic dot that you see that's kind of floating through there. Once we have that information, we can then analyze what zone they're in. So a good example of that is what floor or what building or what area outside that they're in. So, alrighty, any other questions? Or
Do you want me to pull some from the chat here, Steve?
actually, one just came in that I'd love to answer.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
It said I would just hate to be one of those employees that has to be tracked. Okay, so here we go. The reality is that your employer likely has this information, whether you know it or not. You're carrying an ID badge, a prox card or something like that. This information already exists. But just kind of calling out the natural privacy concern is many employers do have the legal right to track. Okay, so let's kind of get over that point too. But many employees are also asking you to install an app on your phone that you use as part of your employment. And so that app is always there, and there's a lot of bona fide concerns about being tracked when you're not working or when you're not on the job site, that sort of thing. What we've demonstrated here are tags. They have a power switch. You can basically turn them off. You can turn them on. They can be configured to only track while you're in the building. Speaking to what Shelby actually said, it's not so much around micromanaging, it's around enabling. If you want to just track assets, that's fine as well. Put a tag on a wheelchair or pump or something like that. You know exactly where it is. Even a set of keys can be that simple. So we're not the ones that are advocating it, like Shelby indicated. We're the ones that are just demonstrating what the capability is. Your situation or your use case would really kind of call out, how it should be deployed.
Awesome. Awesome. Were there any other ones that you saw in here that you wanted to cover right now? I know there are other questions, so people can absolutely, I'm sure Shelby send you an email there, contact you guys if they have some specific technical questions or, solutions, use cases, things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we would love to hear from you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to pull this slide up one more time just to leave some of my contact info here and how to get in touch with Helium. And I just want to thank Shelby and Steve for being with us today. Really cool stuff that Norada is doing. And we're excited to see where you guys go from here. And thank you everyone for joining the Uplink today. This will be up on YouTube probably in the next 24 hours too, if you'd like to rewatch or anything. All right. We'll see everyone next time. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.